Hello, everybody. It's me, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. It's Saturday, not Friday, the start of Memorial Weekend for most of us. Before I get on, I do want to thank each and every single one of our service members, both men and women, for serving our great country. For those that are with us today and those that have fallen, I do appreciate what you do for us as a country. Moving on, this story I'm going to need your guys' help with. It's got everything, it's got all these elements. And when I mean elements, I don't know if this is Bigfoot, I don't know if this is supernatural, paranormal, but it's got a mixture of everything. And quite frankly, I'm perplexed. I've never had an encounter quite like this from an emailer that I've gotten or what I've heard over the last several years. I think you guys will enjoy it. Let me know what you think at the end and leave a comment. Don't forget, the super share is open if you care to participate in that. If not, like always, share out Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Love and appreciate all of you. And again, have a great weekend. And here we go. Peering through the our RV parked just outside of Lake Erie at Geneva State Park in Ohio, I thought I was going crazy. The Geneva beacon light was full ablaze off the shoreline of Lake Erie. We had planned to stay only 2 nights, then venture further into the woods and hike in, leaving our 35-foot RV at a recreation area only a few miles where we would enter the trail to set up our camp. We planned on hiking in 5 or 6 miles to be totally secluded. You see, Rob, my wife Jane and me, my name is Hal, we needed time away to just be together after a very tough 3 years of being unhappy with our marriage. So we figured with the time off of work that we had, we would just be together. We wanted to be one with nature in the forest and then be off on another excursion in the city. My wife and I first met walking a trail in Ohio where we kind of just ran into each other. It was love at first sight. The first 5 years were fantastic. Then the following 3 years, we hit a snag. We both are dual income, have no kids, and few bills. It seemed that we were just always consumed with working, and our intimate time, our camaraderie, and social life just dwindled. We needed a spark, and boy, did we get one. I was peering towards the Geneva light with my night vision binoculars when all of a sudden the light was covered by a massive shadow. Now, you guys, the Geneva light is out in Lake Erie, just FYI. At first glance, I could not make out what it was. I moved the binoculars from my eyes, rubbed my eyes, and looked out towards the light without the binoculars and could not see any light emitting from the beacon. I need to tell you that this light stands out of the water at least 8 or 9 feet high, from my estimation, and can be seen easily with the naked eye. Why was it covered? Or more importantly, how or what was covering it? The night was clear, the moon and stars above shined brightly. I put the night vision back to my eyes, and to my dismay, a set of glowing bright blue eyes were apparent and seemed as though they were moving closer to shore. I quickly got Jane and told her to have a look towards the shore. She too saw the bright blue eyes, and they were moving closer inland. Without haste and with adrenaline pumping, we both scurried off towards the shore to get a closer look. Upon reaching the shoreline, without the aid of the night vision, those glowing eyes were 50 yards from shore, and the eyes seemed to hover a good 10 or 12 feet high. A massive humanoid-looking body silhouetted about and around the eyes. Then, in an instant, it sank down into Lake Erie, exposing a now visible Geneva light. So this massive creature covered the light, apparently sinks into Lake Erie. Now the light is readily visible. Talk about having some excitement to spark our weekend. This story goes far beyond this strange entity along Lake Erie. Walking back to our RV, Jane tugged at my arm and asked, "Hal, did you feel as though whatever that was could see us?" I responded back, "Honey, I did get that feeling." I went on, "I got the feeling it was trying to communicate with me. Jane stopped in her tracks and said, "Hell, it did speak to me." Jane went on to tell me she was going to blow off that part and not tell me for fear that I would think that I was losing my mind. I then told Jane not to worry about it and asked her to tell me what was communicated. Jane replied, "You can seek your answers in the forest." I have to admit that I believed Jane and found it haunting that we were planning our hike into the forest that very next day. Coincidence? I don't know. Was this a premonition? Was this the excitement we sought to help rekindle our marriage? Well, we went to the woods to find out just that. The next morning, we got to the Geneva Park Forest, found a spot to hike in. We both sported backpacks and a portable pop-up tent just in case we really wanted to be adventurous and spend or sleep a night or two in the woods. We really did not even know if this was allowed, but we wanted some excitement, and with our first experience at the lake's edge, it was already starting out as a very bizarre trip. We traveled relatively light, with water and jerky, knowing we could always hike back to the RV in case we ran low on supplies. We found a nice meadow 2 miles in, dropped our packs, and set up the pop up tent. It was about 10 in the morning, and we started our hike. We started on a trail that seemed to be traveled quite frequently, then veered off trail on a much narrower path, and to our reluctance, we just went for it. The path was overgrown with vegetation and tree branches. I did bring a machete that helped to pave our way. Jane loved the way I was dressed and sporting the big blade like some big game hunter. We both were very happy, yet leery of the past night's experience. After about a half hour in, Jane and myself suddenly were overcome with that creepy feeling that we had at Lake Erie. In fact, almost in unison, we both turned to each other and we could feel it without speaking to each other. The path grew a little wider and opened up to what appeared to be a strange campsite. This was like nothing I'd ever seen. Strange wood carvings littered the ground before us. I stopped to pick up one of the strange objects, and it appeared to be that of a human body, with a strange half-human, half-animal-like head. Then found another, and then another. There was a rather large makeshift shelter constructed with very thick branches and brush. It was literally big enough to stand in. It seemed to be very soundly built. This person's dwelling This was a person's dwelling that Jane and I had stumbled upon. We both decided it was time to leave and turned to head out. It would be a minute before we could leave, as standing not 30 feet from us was a large or huge humanoid figure with those bright blue eyes staring at us. This being was transparent and dark and shadowy. It almost appeared to blend in with the woods. In fact, if it was not for those bright blue eyes, it could easily be missed if it was just a few feet further from our distance. The face was nondescript. The body was massive, both tall and wide. Yet again, it was almost ghostly. Yes, Rob, I have heard of Bigfoot, but this I am guessing was not. At least not from what I had heard about and the images that I had seen on Google. To make this even more strange is that Jane received a communication to her mind, just like the night at the lake. The words family entered her head. She turned to me and said, "Hell, I think this to be what we were looking for." Both of us now looking at each other and taking our eyes off of this being, I replied, "What do you mean, Jane?" Jean said, "I am being told the word family in my mind." Puzzled, we both turned our attention back to the ghost-like apparition, or whatever this is. But it's gone. However, it was replaced. Amazingly, two much smaller beings appeared before us. They looked like two small children. At least the outline appeared as such. Again, transparent, and they appeared to be playing. Strangely, not telepathic, but a vocalization of children's laughter rang through our ears. Jane and I lost all fear. A warm feeling of love overtook us. Was this, in this odd and strange way, the message that was communicated earlier to Jane? Was this the answer to what we both sought? Were we to start a family? Well, 4 years removed from this extraordinary experience, Jane and I both have repaired our marriage. To answer your question, that I know what you want to ask, Rob, is this. Yes, we have two beautiful daughters. It feels as though something out of this world played a big part in changing our lives forever. Okay, guys, what do you think about that? I think it's a cool story. I know that Bigfoot roams the lakes, the rivers, and streams to travel. Never heard about him like actually appearing in a Lake Erie for that matter. I've heard of other weird things along Lake Erie or all the Great Lakes, apparitions and ghosts. And then the mind speak, the messages, the communications, which kind of played a role in this. This couple was on the outs. They're probably headed for divorce. Then all of a sudden, the strange being in the forest communicates family, then the children. What I don't really can't put my hand on is the hut, that structure, those weird carvings. I was starting to think some witchcraft was going to take place. And then they see this big being appear, much like they saw at Lake Erie. I don't know, man. I find it to be fascinating. At first, I thought it was going to be malevolent, or whatever that word is, but it turns out to have a happy ending. I don't know. I'm a little perplexed. I thought it was fantastic. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Was it a spirit of Bigfoot? Was it elemental of the woods? What was it? Was it destiny? Did they make the right decision to go on this trip? Apparently, yes. They started a family. They seem to be living well together. I liked it. Leave a comment. The super share is open. Have a fantastic weekend. I love each and every single one of you. I am Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And until next time, have a great day.